and welcome to Order 42. I am Rob, and tonight I have a very special guest. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have him here. Let's bring him in. Albert, how's it going, man? How are you?
Robbie, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So yeah, how you been?
I've been all right, just trying to deal with COVID and dealing with all that mess that comes with. So, well, thank you for having me on. I'm really excited to be here.
Of course, it's a pleasure. And just to say, we got Eagle Ford and Vicky's here. Fist of Bucho is here. So yeah, this is gonna be fun. If you don't know Albert, we're really gonna get into this, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So first off, let's get into it just a little bit. So you had told me some things right before we started that I wasn't aware of. So what did you go to school for?
Well, first I went to school for music, then I went for English, and I finally finished my bachelor's in theater performance with a minor in English.
Well, see, there you go. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what's your? I know that this is one of those things that what's the old saying? The most interesting people, don't know what they want to be when they grow up. You know what I mean? But what's your goals here? I mean, because it sounds like you've got a lot of irons in the fire here.
Well, that's a good question. Actually, I'm not sure what goals I have right now. Just gotta go to work tomorrow. That's
right.
The goals I have right now.
Right. So that's cool. That's cool. I mean, like the I don't know. I just think that's cool when somebody goes to school for something like that. It could be taken as like, well, this is just, where my head's at right now. But, I mean, gosh, how many times, like, if you saw my college transcript, you'd go, and what did you do? Marketing? That's nowhere on there. So, I get it. I get it. So,
well, the funny story about that is when I was in college, I wanted to go to school for film acting, not theater acting, because they're two different beasts.
Sure.
But my degree says theater, but I took more film classes because I'm a film guy through and through for sure. If give me a choice to see a movie or a play, I'm going to see a movie every time.
See, that's what's weird is like I'm one of those where I'm a big movie dork. I mean, I think most people on this channel, they know that by now, but I also really enjoy the sort of the immediacy of theater. You know what I mean?
For sure.
The immediate feedback. You don't have to sit there and then let it sit and then it gets edited and all this stuff and you have to wait to see what the response is. You just get that response right away, So it's kind of like this. It's kind of like doing, a live show. You get it right away. You either people are going to respond to it or they don't. So I think that's cool myself. So hey, I already learned something about Albert just in the first 5 minutes. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So let me ask this. So your YouTube channel, and by the way, thank you, Nightbot. In fact, Nightbot has, and also a huge supporter of my channel. I mean, if you guys don't know, Nightbot is, he's always here somehow. But anyway, he's posted some links there. And it goes right to Albert's YouTube channel. What do you know? I mean, Nightbot is on the ball. I got to tell you. But you got to watch out for him because sometimes he gets a little nuts. You know what I mean? But anyway, so yeah, if you guys want to check out Albert's channel, it's there right there. But tell us a little bit about it. Like, what's your YouTube channel?
Well, my YouTube channel is called Super AJS. When I started the channel, I tried to think of a name. I didn't want to use, Albert 64 or, Sony, so I figured because my initials are AJS and the Super Nintendo is the Super NES. So I just figured, okay, Super AJS, Super NES.
It's catchy.
I thought it was clever at the time.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. And it's funny too, is I like you've got that right up. Sorry, I probably cut you off there, but right off the bat, you've got Kevin Smith calling out your channel on there. I don't know. I got a kick out of that. So,
that was setting that up felt pretty surreal too. Cause I felt like I knew people.
Right.
Like
Right.
I had to deal with his people to get that video, and I just felt so. Oh, what is this? Because Kevin would like details. I was like, oh, Kevin. You know, we're on a first name basis now.
You know, before you get into that, there's a funny story which I may not. In fact, now that I think about it, I probably shouldn't tell that story right now. But it's about Kevin Smith and a friend of mine who basically, the short story is that he kind of insulted him during a convention, and everybody laughed. He laughed, the guy that was getting made fun of, and then afterward they met, and he's like, dude, I'm sorry, I didn't mean. It's like it was like a homer, and you know, it's just like the bat was perfect, and I hit the homer, you know, and he said, I feel bad, and he goes, no, man, and he gave him a hug and all this stuff. So Kevin Smith is a cool dude. I really like him. But anyway, your channel. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So yeah, it's just a Let's Play channel. It's nothing too fancy. You know, I usually just film the video, record, stop, upload, and maybe a few editing here and there. But yeah, I honestly don't have the patience to add the bells and whistles to it. So that to me is just one and done. I get to play my games, and you know, at the same time, try to grow my channel. Yeah. Which I have over a little 100 subscribers. That to me, I'm so insanely proud of.
Yeah, no. So it's one of those things too, is like, you know, we've just gotten started here really. You know, we have all these followers, which is just, it's insane. But it's also, I have to realize that without, you know, those Billy and Jay guys, yeah, I wouldn't have that many followers. So I have to really thank them for that. But no, that's awesome, man. You're now, what kind of games do you play? Like, what do you like to do?
Mainly fighting games. I've realized that that's where a lot of the views come from, since a lot of people love fighting games, myself being one of them. So I used to do everything, platformers, puzzles, whatever the case may be. Now I just do fighting games primarily, because those are my favorite to play, and I noticed those get more views than my other that aren't fighting games.
Right. No, I get that. I mean, it's one of those things. Now, like you said though, you enjoy playing the fighting games, so it's a win-win, right? So, okay.
Oh, yes.
That's awesome though, man. So like, where do you? I mean, I guess it's probably too early to tell. I mean, like, is that what how much of your energy are you pouring into that? Because you said you know you work a day job, right? So it's, you know, you're kind of just trying to build and see where it goes, right?
Yes, of course. And I realize I'm not as energetic as some a lot of Let's Players are, because I've noticed there's this one streamer that, I don't want to say bad things, but he's like a little too energetic for my liking, and I feel like I can't do that. I can't be like, oh my god, I just won, you know, this and that. So you look at my videos, I'm like, I say things every now and then to be like, oh hey, that was a cool uppercut there, but I can't be 100 at all times, if that makes sense. And I feel like I'm lame sometimes.
No,
I'm just there. I have to concentrate too when I play games. I concentrate, so I can't be like, oh my god, you know. So it's mainly just me playing the game with little commentary here and there, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, I totally trust me. Especially like last night playing that freaking Hyrule Warriors, man. I was like, look, I like the game. Don't get me wrong, I like the game, but man, after a while, I'm just like, it draws you in. It's so like, there's so much going on, and you've got to concentrate. That then you realize, I haven't said anything in like 2 minutes, at least 2 minutes. And I'm like, dang it. So I guess what I'm going to have to do is kind of, in a way, kind of go that, you know, Billy or Jay route where, you know, let's play some retro games where I know the game and I can just play the game, but I can interact and, you know, try to be somewhat entertaining, you know, say goofy, stupid crap every now and then, you know? I mean, it's just, it's like, I don't understand how some of these guys do it. It's amazing, and it is. There's a talent there too. Do you
absolutely 100%?
Do you feel you're safe a little? If in doubt, do a goofy accent. Bucho says, "Well, yeah, I guess." because I every now and then I'll do that silly Scottish accent I do, but hey. But like the one thing that I don't get is how they can have full conversations while playing something like Apex Legends or where there's you've got to concentrate or you're gonna you're gonna get taken out of the round, and then usually you've got two other people on your team, and I'm like, I just watch those guys and I'm just like, wow, I'm just impressed. Or maybe I'm just too old, maybe that's it, I don't know. But anyway, but no, that sounds cool. And like I said, Nightbot puts that link there, so if you want to go check out Albert's channel, please do so. I think it's gonna be fun. Be a fun place. Now,
thank you.
Of course. Now, I want to get kind of into a little bit about how we met, but first, let's go to the beginning. Let's tell the story from the beginning. So, how did you find the Game Chasers? Like, what was the process?
Whoa, Robbie Michaels, I'm so happy you asked me. It all started 6 years ago, as a matter of fact. I'm from McAllen, Texas, which is near the Mexico-Texas border. So if you look at it on the map of Texas, I'm way at the bottom. Mexico, certain parts you could see right there. So I was working at our local mall, the La Plaza Mall at the time. My coworker, Leroy, he's also a fellow gamer retro collector. So him and I can go hours talking about video games of all kind, modern, retro. And he told me one day at work that, oh, dude, you should check out these guys. They're called the Game Chasers. Their production value is top notch. I'm paraphrasing, but that was his gist.
Right.
So I was like, okay, cool. I look it up. And sure enough, the first episode was the season 5, episode 1. That was the season that was like, oh, coming soon. So that was the newest season that just premiered. So it was when their van got broken into in Memphis. That was the first episode of Game Chasers I saw. And sure enough, I did some research, and they're from Dallas, same home state. As a matter of fact, I did a timeline. I was living in Arlington when they started the channel.
Oh.
And that it just felt like, oh my God, they're friends of mine. I never met them before. So
that's crazy.
Since then, whenever season 5 premiered is when I became a fan, and I went back to the beginning, watched season 1 forward, and I've been a fan ever since.
That's awesome. And what's weird is, I think I'm trying to think of my timeline, because of course I'm a fan of their channel and what Billy does, because Billy is really super talented. Okay, I don't think that's. It's just not a question. It's almost an objective truth. The dude is super talented, but
he's also very tall.
And he is very tall.
Very tall.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, I've known him since he was 16. I've known Jace. I'm only a couple of years older than them. So anyway, I've known them a long time. So it's weird to then find that they've got this huge channel, and I start watching them, and I'm hearing them reference things that we had used to talk about. And then, and it was just like, it's weird. It's like, it's kind of hanging out with them, but it's almost making it like, I just want to hang out with them. So I would call them up or whatever, and we'd always mean to get, cause I live on the north side of the Metroplex, right? So it's not like it's a huge long drive, but when I was working like 50, 60 hours a week or whatever, I may not have time to go hang out with those guys on the weekend. I'm just chilling out, all that kind of stuff, life stuff, right? But yeah, when I started watching some of that stuff, it was so weird. There was a joke that they told in season 1, probably the first few episodes, that references my brother. And it's like, did he actually just say that? And then when I hear every now and then, it's not like all the time, but every now and then I'll see somebody, say that. It's like, oh, I want to be a part of something. That's from my brother, my little brother. So it was just kind of, well, he's not so little anymore. He's old man now. Old man with 76 kids. No, he's got 2 kids. That was a bit of a hyperbole. But anyway, so yeah, so you found those guys, fan for a while, and you hear that they're gonna make a movie. So a lot of people like me supported the Kickstarter, but you chose to go a little above and beyond. What was it about it that made you say, I've got to do this? I've got to do this.
Well, I'm so happy you asked. At that time, I thought when they announced that they were going to do a Kickstarter, I remember this, they had asked on Twitter what perks should be included on the campaign. And I had suggested a walk-on rule because, me being a fan, that would have been such a huge honor. So when the Kickstarter went live and I saw that perk, I felt like I had to do it. I would kick myself in the ass, pardon my language, if I didn't go through with it. Because I know if I didn't, I would regret it for the rest of my life. I don't mean to sound a little cliche and dramatic, but I felt like I would be upset at myself for not taking that opportunity, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't sound like that at all. I mean, that's the kind of thing, that's why I quit my job, because I felt the exact same way. The only difference is, like I said, when I heard they were making the movie, I was like, first I thought, because I'd seen Kickstarters come and go from different projects and all that stuff, and you kind of like, you see that and you go, oh, well, good luck with that, whatever. And I kept track of it, right? And I said, you know what? I'm going to help them out. Just see. And I'm the one that I'm kidding. I didn't do it. I didn't do anything special. But I put some money in, and I said, I want to get my double disc signed, which is weird from a couple of your friends, but I said, I want it, and I want it signed, and I want that. And I want to support them, And I just texted them, and I said, because we've kept in touch over the years, but that was the thing. It was like, I just want to let you guys know that, in a weird way, it's like I'm a proud dad. It's awesome to see what you guys have built, and just proud of you. And they were like, thanks, man, whatever. Nothing. And then Billy, out of nowhere, said, hey, I'm going to be in the area. Do you want to meet up for dinner? And I was like, yeah, sure. I just had a really rough day at work, all that kind of stuff, where I'm like, you know what I mean? One of those kinds of days. Yeah. And he's comes in with his notebook. They got this big fat binder, and he starts, we're eating Whataburger, and he's laying it all out. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, he's going to ask me to work on this. And I just basically said, look, I got to be honest, I would love to do this, but I can't just quit my job. I can't. And he goes, well, I'm not asking you to quit your job. I just want you to come out and be a part of it and help out and everything. Cause I think there's some things that you can help with. I'm like, okay. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, okay, maybe, Then he sent me the script, the first, whatever. Gosh, there's so many revisions. He sends me the script. I read 10 pages and I put it down and I go, I got to do this. And I'm all in. I can't just tiptoe it. I got to go all in. So I did it. And yeah, so I got to work on the movie, be on set and see every frame shot. It was awesome. It was so much fun. But it was also, I did a lot of work on the movie too. So very, very cool. So no, when you say it's cliche, no, I totally get that. You're talking to a guy that, made a similar decision where it was like, I got to do it. If I don't, I'm going to regret it forever.
Yeah. 100%.
So no, I get it. That's awesome, man. So let me ask you this from your point of view, because we've had a lot of people, you've seen them. You've seen the people. Gosh, sorry, there's something in my eye.
That's okay.
Oh. Sorry, you get a little empathy there where you're like, oh my God. but it's like a piece of, I don't know what it is. Anyway, jeez. You come to the set. It's day one. You got to be there on day one. Number one, how did you feel? Were you nervous? Were you like what? Like, let me experience what you did on that day.
Did you want play by play? When I woke up and what I did?
Took a dump, and then I took a shower, and then I shaved a little bit, and then no, just I mean, like, you know, when you got there, you had to be like, wow, this is wow, right? I mean, I'm curious to how you felt.
Okay, yes, I was very nervous, and as soon as I showed up, I felt like I had to put on a facade because I worked on movies before. You know, I worked on Alita Battle Angel. I worked on Queen of the South for the USA Network. I worked on two pilots for ABC and Comedy Central. So I've been around, and I went to school for it. I've been on a lot of film sets when I went to college. So I know how it's done, but this was the first time I was nervous because I was fans of the people involved.
Right.
And I try to have a show professionalism, you know, like, oh, whatever, to me, you're just like everybody else. But inside, I was screaming out of being a fanboy because I've been a fan of these guys for years and of other YouTubers. Matter of fact, I just gave in. I shook Joe from GameStack's hand because I love those guys as well. You know, 8-Bit Eric, yeah, I've known him. Okay, Chief, I know him. And then, oh my God, Game Dave's there too. So I was nervous the entire day. And of course, since I've been around the block, so I know when it was my time for my scene to act in it, I already know what to do because I played off of Joe during the first after the first take. I kind of knew what to do, but the entire day I was fanboying the entire time inside.
Yeah, and it's
for sure.
Well, that's what I think is fascinating because, I mean, just from, you know, my perspective, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody. I knew Billy and Jay pretty much. I knew Eric because I'd gone to meetings with him, and since Eric had been in town for a while, he had been a lot of the meetings and got to do, you know, little read-throughs with him. I got to meet Wood at one point, and that was see, that one was the weird one for me because Wood was the only one that I had seen way before I'd met up with Billy and Jay again, right? He's the only one that I'd been a fan of. And so it was surreal he's just inviting me over, okay? And then sitting in the couch where all the things happen and you're like, this is weird. And then he's like, hey, come on upstairs. We go upstairs and there's the thing. There's this, oh my God, there's all the games and oh my God. Dude, it was so weird. But everybody else I didn't know. And I met on the day. Like Dave, I met on the day. Joe, of course, all the other people involved. Jim, and then of course all the crew. The crew is what made me nervous because I was technically part of the crew, and I didn't want to screw up. So all the cast, I was just like joking around with them, and they didn't know who I was, and I didn't know who they were. And then after the shoot, I start looking them up and I start seeing things and I'm like, holy crap, these guys are amazing. These guys are amazing. And I was just like, and I'm so glad I did it that way because otherwise I would have been a mess. But it's so fascinating to hear how you came on there and you were probably just like, yes, I belong. It's kind of how I just imagined, you know, it's like, hello, yes, I'm here on the set, you know, and I don't know. I just like, did you approach Billy first? How did all that work?
Billy, he approached me, and that's where I realized how tall he was because, you know, he came closer. He's like, oh, hello. So, but he said, you know, thank you for doing this. And, you know, and we introduced each other and it was fun.
Now, how long were you there? Like what? Because I mean, again, for me, that day is a complete blur because I didn't know what I was doing. Let's be honest.
I was there from about 10 or 11 in the morning to about whenever we were at 6, 7, right around that time.
Okay.
And I was only there for the first day, unfortunately. And Billy had invited me to come back to set, but I was just so pressed for time. I couldn't. I had to leave town that next day.
Oh, okay.
As a matter of fact, Billy got in touch with me as I was heading to the bus station to come back home.
So you got to see some stuff. I mean, you're one of the fans that you're probably a lot of people would have wanted to experience what you experienced. So what was it like seeing some of these scenes? Because you didn't have any context for any of this stuff. So how, I mean, like what, I mean, without going into details, because we don't need, you know, the details, but like how did, like, what did you think of what you saw?
Oh, that's a good question. What did I think? Apart from it was awesome. Well, definitely, I don't know. That's a good question. As far as what I thought, it was fun, and it was definitely surreal. And I wish that all the fans could have been there to see it, but you know,
yeah.
And yeah, and it was fun, especially when we got around to filming my scene, which I was proud of one take. I hope they use it, but you know, it's Billy's decision. So hopefully they'll use it. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so hopefully that one gets used, but you know, whichever take.
Well, see, that's the thing is like, what was weird was, you know, I've been lucky enough to been working on the project from not really pre-production, but like the ramp up to shooting, you know, basically September, October timeframe through shoot. And then I've been helping on and off with sound and stuff like that later. So I've been involved in a lot of the process and seeing how it's being shaped and all that stuff. It's surreal to, from my point of view, my job was to make sure continuity happened, right? And make sure that, you know, picking up, they're shaking their fists with a fork in their left hand, and then it cuts and then it comes back. They need to still be holding it in their left hand, not their right hand, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then I'm trying to time the shots and all that. It's an impossible, crazy job. I remember every single one of your takes in a hazy kind of way. And the take that is used in the rough cut that I saw was funny. So it was like, okay, good. You know, it worked. But it was almost like, it was a weird kind of, like, I remember one that was my favorite too. But it all depends on, it's not up to me. It's not up to you. It's not up to anyone. But Billy, when he's putting it together, which one flows the best? Which one works the best 100%. With everything else going on? There's so many things to keep track of, which is why Billy is he's just crazy. It's crazy to see what he's been able to do. And I mean, from his, yeah, someone said we should do a movie. Okay, let's make a movie. And then starts writing it. And then it's crazy. But so you got to see a lot of the, I guess that's the weird thing, is that I didn't realize that you'd been on sets before. So like a lot of that was like, oh yeah, there's the guy doing that, and there's the guy doing this thing. And so, I mean, like from my point of view, me first time being on set, I was exactly the same way. Like, I am here and I'm here to do a job and I'm whatever, but I didn't know what I was doing. And I was just like, okay, I saw this on YouTube. I hope I'm doing things right. But I thought everybody, seriously, that's how I learned to be a script supervisor, is watching YouTube and doing Zoom chats with Larissa, right? Because she'd been a script supervisor before. She was just like, well, this is what you want to look out for. This is what you want to do. Anyway, from my point of view, the crew was like amazing. So I was going to kind of get your point of view. I mean, did you get to talk to any of them? Did you get to interact with them at all? Or was it more of just like, you just didn't have the time?
Well, on movie sets, when the ones I've been on, they teach you when I was in school too that you need to stay out of their way because they're doing a job. You can't have small talk like, hey, good morning, how you doing? That they got a job to do. I was taught to always stay out of their way. And according to Game Chasers, it was more laid back for sure. I was taught to never take pictures on sets. As a matter of fact, I got in trouble once for doing that. And so I didn't take any pictures except for the ones I asked for.
Right.
And yeah, it was pure professionalism. And that's how I approached it. The only interaction I had with the crew, apart from them telling me where to go, is Peter Calvin, I believe his name is. He's went up to congratulate or tell me that the scene was funny, the one I was in, which made me feel better because I felt like I did a good job.
Yeah, and Peter, oh my God, I love that. I love that guy. He's again pure professional. When it was weird because that first day nobody was cutting up really. Everybody had their game face on. It was very serious that first day.
Oh yeah.
Like across the board, everybody. And I remember Larissa coming up to me and she goes, it looks like you're doing a really good job. And I'm like, thank you. I'm making things up as I go, but thank you. She's like, no, you're doing what you're supposed to do. Okay. But everybody was real. I mean, it was weird. And then it was only after about, I don't know, 4 days. And this is just to tell you know how Jay is. Jay is who he is. The person you see on the Game Chasers channel, that's Jay. If you see him on a live stream, that's Jay. He's just Jay. There's no one fake. There's nothing fake about him at all. He just stood up one day at breakfast and said, hey, I know you guys are like, you kind of think, oh, the crew has to leave the cast alone. He goes, no. You guys want to come sit with us? Come sit with us. And if I want to come sit with you, it shouldn't be a big deal. We're all people. We're here to do a job. We're here to make this movie. You guys are family to us now. So, and it was just like, that's awesome. I'm so glad he said that because then it broke down those barriers on both sides. Because it was almost like we can't really talk to them because they're doing the job, and then we can't talk to them. And then Leon, I don't know if you got to meet Leon or got to talk to him at all.
Oh no, yeah, we hung out the entire day pretty much.
Yeah, Leon was always like, you don't talk to the talent. On big film sets, you do not talk to the talent. And I'm like, Billy and Jay are the talent? Okay. But anyway, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But you know what I mean? There was that barrier that they all shared. And then when he was able to break through that, man, we had so much fun every night. I remember one night, just a funny story from the set. We're in this, I'll just say an old place, an antique-y kind of place. Okay? We're sitting there. It's dusty. It's cold. It's just, it was crazy. We're sitting there and we're sitting on these couches that are also dusty along with everything else in the place. And we're filming these scenes and there's just, we gotta move. And it's 4:00 in the morning. And we're all like, oh my God. And at one point, Rudy, who is one of the most professional people on set, he's doing his thing. We've got the little, instead of using that big monitor that we had, I don't know if you saw the big, well, you've seen those, the big monitors. He had the little handheld one and we were just kind of sharing it. And at one point, he just lays his head on my shoulder and I'm like, this is awesome. We're just all hanging out. We're just making a movie, But it was also like, oh, let's get through this night, please. Because there were some rough, man, trust me, there were some rough days. But that day seemed to go pretty well. It was, it really seemed to go well. And it just got better and better and better. And it felt like just this well-oiled machine. So I'm happy to hear that you at least got to hang out with, Leon a little bit. But no, it's amazing that I guess that's that's just part of the deal, right? You leave them alone. If you get in their face, then they're all like, I guess they get distracted and they miss something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So let me ask you this. You said you'd worked on Alita Battle Angel and some other, I don't know the other ones that you said, but like what were you doing on set? Like what was your job?
Extras. Background is background artist or actor is what we're called.
Right.
And this is the first time I had a speaking line in a movie, so I'm very happy about that.
Oh yeah. Well, I hope you're happy with how it turns out. I mean, like I can't really remember everything about that whole, because I mean, the first time I'm watching this cut and I'm just looking at everything. So there's plenty of things that I missed. I want to watch it. I'm probably gonna have to watch it at least a ton more times, but we'll wait for Billy because he's not done yet.
Mm-hmm.
But so like if you could say from the whole thing, stepping back, looking back, what was your favorite part of it? Like was it getting to meet everybody, getting to take pictures? Like what was it?
Oh, that's a hard one to say because the entire day was special to me. It's hard to pinpoint exactly the best part of that day because all of it felt amazing to me.
So the day was awesome.
Yeah, we'll go. Yeah, apart from meeting everybody, yourself included, because I remembered you from the Blockbuster video with you and Rufus,
which blew me away. Hashtag blown away, guys. But yeah, yes. And you said that, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot it. Okay, because
I forgot about that.
Which is probably one of those things that would probably irritate most people. Most fans, they'd be like, "You forgot you were in a Game Chasers video." I'm like, "Yeah, like I don't
dare you."
But it's just one of those like they're just I've known them for years. It's not weird to me. Now, what was strange though is I thought you were part of the crew, because again, first day I thought you were part, because I was like, I don't recognize him, so he must be part of the crew, because I'd already met most of the crew, throughout the weeks prior, and I was like, okay, so he's the sound guy, gotcha. He's the boom guy. I didn't know any terms. Like I mean, I've seen credits, but I didn't know. So I thought you were part of, I don't know, like I thought you were a gaffer or something like that. I didn't know who you were. So I didn't talk to you. If I would have known, I would have talked to you more. So I apologize. But
that's okay.
Do what now? What'd you say?
I'm sorry?
What did you say just now?
Oh, it's okay.
Oh. So let me ask this. Huh? Sorry, it's like there's like a little bit of hiccup here. Hold on, let me see. Is it on my end here? You okay? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Well, then we're good to go. So did it meet your expectations or did it blow it away?
It blew it all the way, Rob.
Yeah.
It smashed my expectations. I kind of breaks my heart that I wasn't part of the entire filming. I had to be in and out, Rob. That was the only bad thing about where I was at the time in my life. That the DFW is like my second home. So I have family up there. I lived there for about a year, so I come and go from the area all the time. At that point, I was so strapped for time because of everything going on in my life. I had to be in and out, and I wish I had got to hang out with everybody outside of the movie set. But I was happy that I was able to be there for at least a day. So
that's awesome, though. I mean, and again, we were happy to have you, and I can't wait for you to see it. I hope I guess that's my only hope, is because like I'm looking at it again from the standpoint of somebody who's really just helping Billy make his movie.
Mm-hmm.
But now getting to know some of the fans a little bit, getting to talk to a lot of people, I just want to make them happy, you know? And I want them to come away.
Excuse me.
It's okay. I want them to come away saying, okay, that's so much better than I thought it was going to be. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I expected it to be okay, but I didn't expect it to be great. I want it to be great.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're trying. We're trying to get there. So, so what exactly, let me ask this. When you have supported them, and I don't know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, from a fan's point of view,
Mm-hmm.
you've gone above and beyond, at least in my mind, from what I've seen. You have gone above and beyond what the normal fan would do. Do you think that's fair? I don't know if that's fair or not. Sure.
I'll take your word. Yeah.
So I guess that's what it is. It's like, I guess that's what interests me, is what made you do it. Like, what was it that made you say? I mean, yeah, you said, oh, it would have to be something. If I don't do it, I'm gonna feel regret. But it's like, was it just like, I want to support these guys? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to ask. But there's a tangibility to it. There's something bigger than just, oh, I just don't want to miss it. It feels bigger than that. So I just found that really cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess to try my best to answer your question, why I support
if there was
these
a question.
If there was a question, or I feel like where you're going with it. Well, I really do love the show, and what I felt connected to the Game Chasers because they're from my home state, Texas, and from the Dallas area, which is like a second home to me. So I just felt, because they would say cities like San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, Austin, and it's like, oh, I've been there. And as a matter of fact, they came to my neck of the woods in one episode. So it felt good to support the guys because I felt like I knew them almost. Did that make sense?
Right. So there was like a kinship. Almost.
Yes. There we go. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now, okay, let's transition a little bit. Are you into the retro scene? Are you big into the retro gaming, or are you more of like a little bit of everything? Like, what's your stance on that?
Oh, I'm a huge collector. I'm a huge gamer. I don't know if you can tell my Wii U boxes there.
Oh yeah.
I got a whole shelf full of games. I got some games back there. I got to get the Game Chaser seasons over here. As a matter of fact, my laptop is on top of like a cabinet full of retro video games. First and foremost, I'm a gamer. So yes, I got the PS4 here, Xbox One here, PS2 over there, PS3 original Xbox, fat PS2 down there, well, Sega Dreamcast over there. So yeah, I'm
oh
good.
Yeah. So you're yeah. So yeah, it's almost like we're all. I guess I shouldn't even include myself in that, because I feel like I'm much more of a casual, when it comes to gaming. I like the games and stuff. Mm-hmm. I like playing them. I like playing the old ones and the new ones, but I don't go crazy over the collecting part. I just never have. It's weird. It's a weird thing. And I don't know. I feel like I'm, especially the more I hang out with you guys, it feels like have I been missing out this whole time? Which I probably am. Yes. I probably have been. But so let me ask this, because this is one of those questions that always gets asked of the guys. And it never gets asked of the fans. What's your favorite system?
Nintendo 64.
64, really? See, that surprises me. I love pretty much, I'm a big Nintendo fan. I mean, more than anything else, I'm a big Nintendo fan. But for me, it's always been the Super Nintendo for me. I just love that system. I love it. The 64 has some cool games, but I always found myself going back to the Super Nintendo. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of that time when I was like 11, 12, whenever it came out. I don't know.
Mhm.
That's interesting though. So do you have a favorite? Let me ask this: is fighting games, is that your genre? Or
Yes.
okay.
Mhm.
So do you have a favorite game in that genre?
Yes. It's a tie between Street Fighter 3, Third Strike, Street Fighter Alpha 3.
Okay. Okay. I know those. No, in fact, I've never played First Strike, but I have played Alpha 3. So that kind of gives you that was right around the time where I started getting away from gaming a little bit and got more into movies. So,
Yes.
so there you go. Now, let me get this. Let me get your take on this whole console war. Like, do you find this to be like where I would assume that you would land on Sony, but maybe that's unfair. How are you seeing all this, everything that's going on right now?
Well, definitely the scalping is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yes.
Do not buy from scalpers, people. No, and no, of course, if I can't afford it right now, but whenever I do get around to getting one, I'd get a PS5 for sure.
So would you end up getting a Series X at some point, or?
Yeah, eventually, yes. I had to have every system, or not every system, but
right,
definitely from the current gen for sure. But if PS5 would be first, and then eventually, if I find one at a pawn shop, I'll get a Series X.
Okay. Now see, here's okay. PS5.
Mm-hmm.
I think since you're a gamer, you probably follow a little bit of news on the gaming stuff. You see the scalpers, of course. So you see this whole thing going on. What I find interesting, look, I'm gonna probably end up getting both as well because I'm that much of a dork. I like tech. I'm more into the tech of it, and then along with that comes the ability to play the big time, high profile games. That's how I look at it. But it seems like the PS5 is super going toward this. We want you to pay the $70 game, right? And then Xbox is over here. We've got our gaming / Netflix system with Game Pass over here. I feel like there's two different. It's almost like they're two different genres in a way. It's almost like they're not competing. So I'm curious, do you see it that way, or like how do you see that?
I never thought of it that way, but I always saw it as them competing because they both came out in the same week. So I feel like although you do have a point, I never saw it that way. That yeah, PS5 is more like, oh, buy our $80 games, sure. And of course we got Xbox Series X where Game Pass. I've heard a lot about Game Pass, so kind of enticing that way too. So I never thought of it that way. Interesting.
Yeah, I guess it's for me. Bucho's got some questions for you, and we'll get to those in just a second. They're it's kind of funny. I like this, but
okay.
For me, I guess that's what it is. Is for me the PS5 or the PlayStation route is the traditional gaming thing. You pay your premium for game or whatever. But it's almost like Microsoft doesn't even care if you buy their system as long as you get on Game Pass and play somewhere. They don't care if you play on the Xbox One. They don't care if you play it on a PC. As long as you're a Game Pass subscriber, they're happy. I just find that incredibly fascinating, and not enough people talk about it. Because I feel like for example, if I was in a position to buy one system and I knew that the amount of money that I could spend on gaming per month was limited, I'd buy the Xbox because it's just the value, you know. So I don't know. I find that fascinating to me. It's crazy because it's like, yeah, you could buy Halo Infinite when it comes out for $70, or you could just buy Game Pass and get it for $15, and you're like, well, if I only play it for 3 months, I've made my money's worth. And on top of that, I get to play all those other games. So it's, I don't know. It's going to be interesting how that goes, just from almost a business point of view, because I wonder if they actually look at it the way I'm seeing it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting stuff. Anyway, so 3 questions from Bucho. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
What are your Star Wars rankings?
The movies?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you guys are gonna hate me for this.
Dude, no
Ready?
hate here. No hate here.
Okay, so I I haven't seen episode 9, I'll be honest,
Okay.
but I've seen the rest. In my opinion, the best movie, Star Wars movie, Rogue One.
That's a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people. So,
And
like, where does it go from there? Did you like the prequels? I mean, we don't have to go into every single one, but were you a prequel fan? Or you kind of like, eh? And then the sequels, were you like mostly, eh? Like, how do you see it all?
you see, yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I'm not attached to the original, the Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford ones, because I saw them late in the game. I grew up with the prequels, so I saw them episode 1, 2, 3. Eventually, I got to 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8. I had to see 9, and of course Rogue One and Solo. So to me, I don't have the attachment to the originals I didn't grow up with them, and I saw them about the original trilogy about when I was in college, so it had to have been early 2013, 2014 maybe. Wow. So, and they're good, but to me they're not iconic. If that makes sense.
Now see,
so to me, Rogue One.
So Rogue One,
Rogue One, Solo, and Episode 2 are my top 3 top Star Wars movies of all time.
See, to me that is fascinating. I guess mostly just because, like, I grew up with 4, 5, and 6. Of course, that's in fact, you may or may not have heard this on one of my shows, but I think I came online during Empire in the theater. Like, my first actual memory is the probe droids coming out of the Star Destroyer. It's the first thing I remember. Like, that's it. That's the first memory I have. So of course my whole life would be shaped on Star Wars, right? But I find that fascinating, the way that you see it, and I love the point of view of having really seen it from the beginning. The movie that came out in '99, you saw that first, and then went through. That's fascinating to me. That's fascinating. So, wow, in episode 2. See, like, for me, episode 2 is pretty close to the bottom, if not the bottom. And it's not because of anything, but because there's so much weird, goofy stuff in it. But I get it. Now, okay, let me ask you this. What was the first one you saw in the theater?
Episode 2.
See? That makes a difference, I think. Now, all these people saying that theaters are worthless, I'm telling you, seeing it in a theater makes a difference. It adds to the experience. Mm-hmm. And I've always said you can only watch a movie the first time once. Mm-hmm. You can only see it once. And if you see it in a theater surrounded by people that are there to watch the movie, not be on their phone, not kick your chair, not throw popcorn, whatever. If they're there to watch the movie, it adds to the experience. So let's save the theaters. But anyway, that's awesome though. Now, I mean, go ahead.
Episode 1, I like.
Dude, okay.
I like.
Again, I'm a 4, 5, 6 guy for the most part. I love those. The prequels, for a long time, I had a kind of feel to it. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, oh yeah, Jar Jar and the clones, yeah, okay. But I'm telling you, if you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't watched the Clone Wars, the Clone Wars fills out a lot of the gaps in 1, 2, and 3. It fills out a lot of the story, and it makes it so rich. I'm a story guy. I'm a lore guy. That's what I care about. So yeah, it's almost like required watching to me. It's so good. But I get it. There's a lot of people that are like I've always said you can only see a movie for the first time once, but you have to see it at least twice to really get it. Because you're going to miss things. You're going to misunderstand things. There's going to be things that are going to be wrong. That's why every time I watch a Star Wars movie, I hate it. Every time. Doesn't matter what movie it is, I hate it every time, except for Solo. I enjoyed Solo the first time, and why is that? I had no expectations. So, anyway, we've spent too much time on Star Wars, and please don't get me going, because I'll just go on forever. Now, number 2, what are your comic book movie rankings? And again, we're not going to go through all 23 of the Marvel movies and however many DC movies and Bloodshot and all these other whatever movies. I don't even know. The Crow and Blade. And what's your favorite comic book movies?
Well, it's kind of hard to pinpoint because you got the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then we got the Marvel movies before the MCU.
Yeah.
And then we got the DC movies that aren't really DC movies, like Howard the Duck.
Right.
Which I've seen only people of. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint, but I guess I can give you Marvel Cinematic Universe for sure. Winter Soldier, best one. The worst one, Thor: Dark World. Hated it. When I was in college, I wrote a 5-page paper on why I hated it.
That's
Thor: Dark World.
That's what I love about doing either writing a review or doing something like this. It helps you contextualize exactly why, and then usually by the time you're done, whatever opinion you have, it's that much stronger because so if you hated a movie, oh my God, you're going to really hate it by the time you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's just, no, you're right. That Dark World one is just not that good. It's not. I agree with you. And number 3, and this is almost a dig at me, but we're going to go with it. What is your favorite Mark Wahlberg performance?
Ted.
And see, look, I am not a fan of Mark Wahlberg. I just don't like him. I'm just not a fan. But I liked him in Ted. Because he put his ego aside. You know, I think that's what I don't like about him, is he brings up too much of his ego into his movies. But hey, that's just me. It's a thing. So, thank you, Bucho. Those were some great questions. He said, don't leave out Blade. Blade is in play, yes. He also said, Albert just became my favorite Order 42 guest when you said that Rogue One was your favorite.
Thank you.
He said, Thor: Dark World is the only MCU movie I never finished. And he only watched the first half hour, and that was enough for me. I feel like it's one of those where, yes, it's not good, but it's not as bad as you remember. It's a weird one. Like, the second time I watched it, I was like, this isn't really bad. And I'll give you an example. Which one is it? I think it's Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Sorry, I'm looking at my Harry Potter stuff over here.
Uh-huh.
That book, when that came out, I hated the book. And it's because, you know the Harry Potter movies or the stories?
Yes. Fun fact, Order of the Phoenix was the only one I saw in theaters.
There you go. So, Dolores Umbridge.
But I've seen them all.
So, Umbridge, the teacher. Mm-hmm. In the book, it feels like she just tortures Harry for like 7 years. It takes so long to get through it. Then I read the book again. Actually, I listened to the book, audiobook, and it flew by. And it's because I knew there was an end point. Sometimes when there's a story beat that you don't like, it feels like it drags. But then you read it again or watch it again, it's not so bad. I'm just going to say this. Canto Bight isn't as long as you remember it is. It's just not. Second time I watched it, I was like, this Canto Bight's really, I don't like it, but it's not, it's over now. We're moving on. But when you're in the moment and you're like, I'm here for a brand new Star Wars movie and you're showing me horse things running around. What the hell is this? This isn't Star Wars. You know what I mean? It dragged on, and it's because of the editing. It was that whole sequence is poorly edited, but it's not as bad as you remember. I'm just going to say that. He said, I enjoyed Thor 1, but I was just so bored trying to watch Thor Dark World. Yes. I get it.
Yes, and another fun fact, that's the only Marvel movie that in the theater, I got up to go to the restroom.
Oh, Thor? Really?
All the other movies, all the movies, like, no, I gotta watch it. I'm gonna hold it. The Dark World's like,
Now let me ask you this:
yes,
like, when do you? I gotta turn this fan on. It is freaking steaming in here. Sorry. I thought it was on the medium, but it's not. Anyway. Do you like the screaming in theaters and the emotion in theaters? Or are you more like, no, we're watching a movie, let's sit here and adjust my tie and watch this movie?
I'm just kidding. No, I do like the screaming because it makes you feel like I'm part of a team.
Yes. He said, obviously, like everyone with a pulse, I love the heck out of Ragnarok, of course. That movie was great. But yeah, man, I don't understand let's just sit and not have any emotion. And people were like when the after Endgame, it started going around the internet, the crowd reactions to the hammer, right? The hammer scene. And I love it. And almost every time I get almost a little misty-eyed. Like, it almost makes me cry because I miss that. Especially now, COVID. You know, I mean, it's like, I love that stuff. And it's just like another example of a time where, you know, the first time watching a movie can make you remember things that maybe you don't get anymore. Nutty Professor. I watched that. You may not have even seen that. It may have been, you may be too much of a youngin' to know what I'm talking about. You know Nutty Professor, right? Eddie Murphy?
Yes.
Okay. I'm watching that like opening day in the theater, and everybody is literally almost pissing themselves with laughter. It was crazy. It was so loud. Everybody was laughing so hard that, like, when you're done, the movie's over and you're like, God, I'm kind of sore from laughing so hard. But watching that movie at home, it's like
not 9 days.
No, I mean, literally, like, something funny happens and you go, huh. It's weird how it's almost like it all feeds on each other. We feed on each other. So
yes.
I just think that's awesome. But hey, I'll get off of that. Now let me ask you this. I don't know.
Yes.
I know here in DFW, we've been on and off with the lockdowns. Of course, we've been open for quite a while. Have you been able to go to a theater this whole time?
No, mainly because I'm working all the time.
I get it.
Yeah.
So are you one of those that you miss the theater? Or you're just kind of like, Netflix, you know? Or
I miss the theater so much. I miss it so much. I love going to the movies. It's honestly the only social thing I like doing, and I can't wait till this blows over. So I'm gonna go to the movies and watch movies all day.
Yeah, I'm one of those that's one of my favorite things to do. Is a lot of times my wife and I would both take a day off of work, and just in the middle of the week, we would go watch a movie in the morning. You know, the first showing or whatever, go have lunch somewhere, and then come right back and watch another movie. And then we'd come home, we'd make dinner or whatever, you know. But that would be a day that we just hang out, and it's so much fun. I love taking in multiple movies, and I'm also one of those, I don't know if it's weird. I like going to a movie by myself. Is that weird?
I do too. No, I do too.
I like just being like, okay, everybody just, you know, I don't have to talk to anybody, you know, before or after. I can just sit there and, you know, play on my phone or do whatever, and then movie starts and I don't have to worry about anything else. But it's just one of those things. I do like it. But so let me ask you this. Recently, you know, this again, COVID, right? What have you been buying like Blu-rays and DVDs, or have you just been watching like what? How have you been taking into your entertainment? Let me just ask that.
Lately, I've been mainly online, YouTube, Netflix, that kind of thing. I do have a lot of movies as well. I have over 200 Blu-ray and DVDs, so I'm a big physical guy. But I've mainly been watching stuff on Netflix, YouTube.
Right. Have you seen anything like the one thing about me is I'm always looking for stuff that's out of my wheelhouse. You know? Just stuff that's like, "Oh, have you seen the Joker?" "Yeah, I've seen the Joker." "Yeah." I mean, I've seen a lot of movies. I like the ones that like, "Oh man, you should check out." So, is there anything you got anything for me? You got anything that you've watched recently that you're like, "Oh my god."
Oh man, the last movie I saw was Jackass 3, so I could recommend that to you. And I also saw a documentary on Hulu. It's called Dumb, which is the origins of Jackass, essentially. So I recommend that.
See, that actually sounds interesting. Because I love, I mean, look, Jackass is one of those things. I get it. There's a lot of people that don't like it. You know, there's a lot of people that think it's just whatever. But what's weird is there's almost like an intelligence in the way that they are stupid. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I could. Yeah.
It's something I've always liked about it. And then for some reason, the ones that always used to crack me up are the weird prank things, you know, where somebody'd be coming the big hand, you know, knock. I just love that stuff. I just think it's so funny. But I mean, I get it. I get why people don't like it, you know. And they seem to like to be naked all the time, which I just don't. But that's a game. That's also a Game Chasers thing too. I don't understand that. I just don't get it. I'm like, I don't understand. But anyway, like the other night I was watching Billy, and some guy donates $100 for him to take off his shirt. So he's just like, all right.
Oh,
and
yeah, I was on that stream. Yeah.
Like, what am I watching? Is this an OnlyFans? What is this? It was just weird. It was just weird. And he goes, well, I felt like I needed to do it, you know, because, you know, I don't know. It was hilarious, but I was also confused in a way. So, the first thing that I'm going to say about, because I've been watching a lot of stuff lately. I will say that if you haven't seen Mr. Robot, oh my God, I just finished Mr. Robot. What a great show. Why hadn't I watched that before? And I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. I think it's because somebody somewhere told me, "Oh, it's because this isn't real and some things are real and some things aren't." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't like shows like that. I hate getting to the end of something and go, it was all a dream, you know? I hate that." But this one, for some reason, really, So I highly recommend Mr. Robot if you haven't seen that. And then on Netflix, Trial of the Chicago 7. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't, not yet.
Oh my God. It's so good. It's so good. I mean, you've got, why am I going blank on his name? Borat.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
There you go. It's got him. It's got, why am I just like completely going blank on names? But trust me, it's star-studded. There's a ton of them. The dialogue is super interesting, and it's very timely. But it's awesome. It's not not Rudy Giuliani. Buccio, come on. He was in Borat 2. Did you see that, by the way? Oh my God.
No, but I know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know. I kind of like Borat, but it's just like it's just like Jackass. It's an acquired taste, and some people like it and some people don't. That's okay. We all like different things. we all like the same thing, it would be a pretty boring place, right? That's basically the theme of this show, really, is, you know, just like Rogue One. I get that's just so funny that you said Rogue One, Solo, and Episode 2. And I think Rogue One on my list, and again, no judgment. For me, Rogue One and Episode 2 are at the bottom. For me. But I like Solo. I really enjoy Solo. But for some reason, Rogue One, I can't get into it. They bore me. I think when you're... Again, I'm not trying to tell anybody what to like and what not to like. But it's just... I don't get attached to anybody. And then by the time I'm like, okay, I'm starting to come around on this character. Oh, they're dead. Okay. So that's my problem with the movie. But I like it. And that's the other thing. Every Star Wars movie is better than 95% of the movies out there, at least in my opinion. Even the ones that I considered bad. They're still better than most things. But just like when people would say Episode 8, Last Jedi, it's the worst movie I've ever seen. You may not have seen a lot of movies, because I've seen a bunch of crap. And Last Jedi is way above, even on the worst scale, is way above a lot of the crap I've seen. Oh my God, I've seen some horrific stuff. But anyway, so let me ask you this.
Yes.
You're a game fan first, but you're definitely a movie fan. So it's up there. It's just not quite right.
100%. Yeah.
Bucho said, if you're not moved by Jen seeing her old man's hologram message, there might be something wrong with you, Robbie. You know what? That is a very effective scene. And then that's it. But hey, Bucho and I, we constantly bicker like a married couple about Rogue One and what I feel like they should have done. But anyway.
Robbie, that scene where Jen sees her father and she screams out, "Father!" And Mads Mikkelsen just looks at her like, "My daughter," and then he dies. That didn't get you, bro?
It's all right. The problem is I wasn't attached to her yet. So it's like, I mean, ask yourself a question. You're in a grocery store, you're picking your stuff, you see a little kid crying. Do you honestly care? You don't know the kid. You don't know what's wrong. The kid might just be screaming because he didn't get candy, or he could have a debilitating disease, but you don't know. There's not enough information for me to be invested in what the pain is. That's just me. He said the first time you're not attached to Jim, but every time afterward you are. That's just good science. Bucho, oh my God. Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, Jen works better the second time. But like I said, I still don't feel like, I'm just not attached. Hey. So let me get back to my point, my question.
Yes.
Because Bucho, man, he's relentless. He's like Nightbot in a lot of ways. Only, you know, he can't post links. But anyway, so game fan, movie fan, right?
Yes.
So from a fan's point of view, and you hear about them releasing Wonder Woman on streaming at the same time they put it in the theater, like what does that, do you have any feelings about that? Do you have any, are you excited? Are you confused?
Not really, because to me, it's, at least it's out.
Right.
So I don't see it at one way or the other. I just have two options to see it.
Right.
But no, it doesn't bother me that they do that. I'm going to see it either way. So
Right. And see, that's my whole thing, is that, like, I would love to go to the theater to watch it, but I can almost guarantee you I'll watch it on HBO Max before I'll see it in the theater. At least in the next month. You know what I mean? Because that's when it is, this, Christmas Day, right?
Yeah.
So this whole thing, this whole idea of them doing that, or just putting it out and not making, see, because here's my problem, and I want to get your opinion on this. Is this might be completely ridiculous, but I've been saying it for months, that if the studios don't make enough money on the movies they release and they just put them out on Netflix or whatever, the next time it comes to making another big budget movie, they won't have enough money to put up. So the budgets are going to slowly go down, and then we're going to be left with a bunch of Netflix level stuff instead of big budget Avengers Endgame, Top Gun, right? So I'm kind of curious. Do you think that makes sense? Or for the most part, are you kind of like, nah, I mean, hey, I don't know. Or am I just thinking way too much about it? Because that could be true too.
Honestly, it does make sense, because since they're not going to get that money back, I feel like they're not going to want to put as much money into the production because the money hasn't been coming in as much as it used to. So I could see where you're coming from.
Okay. So you think, oh man, that's what I'm worried about, because I'm just like, look, I'm not a movie, like I'm not in the movie industry. At least I don't consider myself to be. Peter said, man, you made a movie, man. You're in the, and I'm like, yeah, but I was there and I helped. I don't really consider to be, I'm not that good yet. So I'll just say that. But it concerns me because I love the big budget movies. I like my small little, small movies.
Yeah.
But I like my big budget Endgame, and I just feel like I don't know. I feel like we're going to this thing where, and even from your point of view, have you seen some of the criticism that the Game Chasers are getting, for why are you asking for all this money? Why are you doing it? But you know better than most that it takes money to do what's being done, right?
Yes.
So, Bill, almost psychologically, do you feel like that's where we're headed? Like, it seems like the younger generation is like, I want Bucha. I feel like they're just like, they expect everybody to just do things for free.
Yeah.
Is that why? Do you know why? I mean, you've probably got a bunch of friends, because you're younger than me, right?
Am I?
You've got to be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 44, so.
No, I'm 31.
Okay. So, people your age and younger, it seems like a lot of people are just like, well, why do you need so much money? So have you figured it out? Do you know why, or do you even notice it? You're just kind of like,
my best guess is technology, I guess.
I think,
because
I get it. I think you're on to something. I've thought about that a lot too, and I'm like, I wonder if it's because they've always had the thing, or the iPad, or the. They're so used to having it now that they don't know what it takes to actually make the thing. So that all they care about is getting it. They don't care about what it takes to get there. That makes sense? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get you.
I find that incredibly. It's just a bummer, man. It bums me out. But Bucho said, don't be so humble, Robbie. You're my favorite script supervisor I've ever heard of.
Like, damn right.
You know what's funny? And this is probably something that, again, probably only me because I'm a dork, but now I find myself watching the credits now. Like, really watching it.
Yes.
It's weird. And it's really strange when you run across somebody you know or you've seen on set. Like Netflix, Rebecca, the movie that came out recently. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but looking through the credits, of course I knew he worked on it, but I'm looking through the credits and there's Leon in the credits.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's like, oh my God, that's so neat. And just seeing some of like Christine, like, did you meet Christine on set? She was the set. Yeah, she was awesome. seen some of her stuff. I've seen Rudy's stuff, Larissa's stuff. It's just great. It's just great to see some of that stuff. So I don't know. I love it. Bucho. Oh my God. So let me ask this: what you kind of heard, because I'm a movie guy, right? So I'm asking you more movie questions than game questions. I hope that's okay. Looking forward, what are you looking forward to? What are the big movies, or any movie that you've heard of and you're like, I can't wait for that one?
No Time to Die. I'm a huge James Bond fan. I've seen all 23 movies. I can rank my favorite Bond to least favorite Bond. I can tell you the worst Bond movie. I can tell you the best Bond movie. I could tell you okay, I'm sorry.
No, I don't usually meet people that are so into Bond like I am. So go ahead. The floor is yours.
To me, best Bond, Pierce Brosnan.
Okay.
Least favorite, still good, but not the best, Roger Moore. I liked George Lazenby. One of my favorite movies, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, 1969.
It's one of the best.
Yes, the only Bond movie where he openly cries. Did you know that?
Yeah. Yes. Well, yes. I'm not sure if I knew that specifically, but I mean, I remember. I'm a huge Bond fan. It's such a good series. So that's interesting, though, that because I'm very similar. I would have to say Roger Moore is Miley's favorite Bond too, even though I like some of his movies. But I think part of it is because he's so cheesy.
Yeah,
it's a cheesy time. You know, the 70s were a weird time. You know, for movies, it was just a lot of cheese. And I can't remember. There's a guy. He's in two or three of the Roger Moore movies, and he irritates the hell out of me. The sheriff guy.
Yes. I forgot his name. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Right? And he's, you've got Roger Moore is more of the, when it comes to Bond, he is the most snooty. Right? He's the most snooty, proper Bond of them all. He's smooth and almost too, it's too much sometimes. Mm-hmm. It seems like the Brits were like, let's make the Americans the dumbest, loudest, most annoying, most vulgar people ever. And I hated it. I felt like I was being talked down to. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? He's like, I'm gonna get them gadgets. What? This isn't Dukes of Hazzard, man.
Yeah.
This is Bond. Quit it. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know about the best Bond though, because for me, like we were talking about Star Wars. Your favorite Star Wars is the one you saw in the theater, because it's so important to your whatever. My first Bond in the theater was, I'm pretty sure it was GoldenEye. Now that's when I was 21. So all of those movies I never saw in the theater, but I'd watched them. I'd watched Moonraker and all that, right? Is Moonraker the worst for you?
No.
Which one's the worst?
No. Die Another Day.
Oh, yes, that's a bad one.
Bond movie ever.
There's some cool stuff in it. One of my favorite it's got a moment that's one of my favorites like ever in all of Bond, and it's when he's in the car and he's upside down on the ice. He hits the ejection seat and he flips over. Okay. It pushes, and
yeah, I remember.
What I like about it is that Pierce Brosnan looks like he's actually having fun. That's the only moment in that movie that I really like. Everything else is pretty trash. And of course, Eagle Ford says Sean Connery. I mean, you can't go wrong with Sean Connery. I mean, let's be honest. But he did do You Only Live Twice, the movie where he's made up like an Asian man, and everybody buys it. It's pretty bad.
I remember.
It was bad before PC stuff was really a thing. It was dumb. It was so dumb. It's like he doesn't look Asian at all. But anyway,
he's actually he's the lower on my list as far as like best Bonds. So because fun fact, I was born July 14th, 1989. That was on a Friday, and that's the same day License to Kill came out in theaters in America.
Oh,
Timothy Dalton.
That's a good one. I like Timothy Dalton a lot too as a Bond. He's really good.
He was a precursor to Daniel Craig because he did the Dark and Gritty.
Yep. I agree. And it's so hard for me. I love the Bond movies so much. It's hard for me to rank them, but and how do you judge it? Do you judge it on how they play the character or their movies? Because I feel like Daniel Craig's movies are better than Pierce Brosnan's, but I like Pierce Brosnan as Bond as a whole better than Daniel Craig.
I agree 100% because to me, Daniel Craig didn't have the smoothness that Brosnan did because Daniel Craig's like, I'm Bond. He's not.
He doesn't look like he's having any fun ever.
No, it doesn't.
You know,
but I agree. His movies are better than Brosnan's, but Brosnan was like very handsome, sexy. Like I could buy him as Bond. Daniel Craig, not that he does a bad job, but I thought Brosnan wiped the floor with him as far as the portrayal of Bond, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm right there with you. And I remember, when I first saw On Her Majesty's Secret Service, because I'd heard for years that he was the worst. Oh yeah, he was so bad. He was only in one movie. Well, yeah, okay, but judge the movie on its own merits, you know. Yes. And it's a great movie. It really is. It's a little slow in points, but for the most part, it's really good. But I also really like. I'm not a big fan of Dr. No, but I love From Russia with Love. I love Goldfinger. Thunderball, I don't care for. And I liked it. There's, huh?
I liked it.
What, Thunderball? Mm-hmm. See, my problem with Thunderball is it feels like somebody going on a checklist. Okay, the girls, yes. Nuclear weapons. Oh, on a sub. Okay. You know what I mean? And it just it didn't feel. I don't know. There's the funny thing is though, even the bad Bond movies, I find something to like. You know. Like View to a Kill is it's just a terrible movie, but I enjoy parts of it, you know? And one thing I really enjoy, and this is, you have to be a Bond super fan to pick this one up. But in the later Roger Moore years, they almost had Roger Moore screams on a button. Oh, it's a specific scream. They play it multiple times through multiple movies. It's the same. It's Roger Moore screaming, but it's in multiple times in movies and multiple movies. Mm-hmm. Next time you watch them, it's kind of funny because you're like, that's the same one. The one that I'm thinking of is oh God, Grace Kelly. No, not Grace Kelly. Grace, what's her name? Not Grace Kelly. She's beautiful. Who am I thinking of?
She was in A View to a Kill.
Yeah. What's funny is I never used to like her. Last time I watched it, I was like, she's the best part of this movie. She is the best part of this movie. I like her performance now. But anyway, it's Grace something. I can't remember. But she was a model and all that. But there's a part where she's got a butterfly she's doing like some sort of thing where she's. Do you remember that part in the movie where it's almost like they're doing almost like a puppet show where there's these butterflies and there's people dressed in black that are holding up the poles and making the butterflies fly around, and she swings it and kills this guy. It smacks him in the face and it kills him. Or in the neck or something. I can't remember. Anyway, there's a part where Roger Moore's chasing her up. I think the Eiffel Tower, and she does something with that thing and it pulls him almost over the edge and he makes this sound, and it's funny because that sound is used multiple times. I don't know, it's just one of those goofy things. Anyway, sorry. So Do you have? Gosh, man, because I got so distracted by Bond because I love Bond. Who do you think they're gonna get? Who would be your prime to take over from Daniel Craig? Is there an actor that you see and you go, yes?
Honestly, from the ones they've announced or rumored, Idris Elba, Tom Hardy, I could see either one of them playing Bond. Honestly,
see, of course, I love Idris Elba because Idris Elba can play a plant, and he would be, yeah, you're just a plant, and well, what's my background? What's my childhood like? You're a freaking plant, dude. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna kill it. Believe me, I'm gonna kill it. Idris Elba's that good. The problem is, I think Idris Elba and Tom Hardy are a little bit too old for them to carry on a franchise for multiple years. You're looking at 10, 12 years in the future.
Yeah.
So for me, I was always thinking somewhere in the 30s, Okay. So I don't know, honestly, who I would pick. But I'll tell you a couple of ideas. If they did this, well, okay, I'll go with the one that I think is probably like the closest to people's view of what Bond is. Tom Hiddleston. Loki, right? No?
No.
Have you seen The Night Manager?
Yes.
See, I liked him in that. And he felt like very Bond spy. He's good looking, he can be suave and sophisticated, but he can also kick ass.
Yeah.
I don't know though. But here's the one that I would really, man, if they did this, he might be a little too old too. Oscar Isaac. How cool would that be? He's like,
I don't see that.
huh? No?
I don't see it.
Oh man, I love it. I love the idea of I'm big on taking risks and saying, okay, we're gonna play with, gosh, sometimes even gender, going through, all the different people that you can pick. It's like pick the best person for the part. Doesn't matter what color they are. It just matters, can they play the part? Doesn't matter. I think Oscar Isaac would be. I think he could do it, but that's just me. And it's the first time I've ever heard anybody say that. So I'm probably way off on it, but I love Oscar Isaac. That guy, I love that guy. So anything else that you're looking forward to other than No Time to Die? Any other big movies that you're?
The Batman.
Now, what did you think about Robert Pattinson? Were you like, okay, or would you have gone, no, why?
No, I liked it. Honestly, I really did. Another, I don't know how much hate I'm gonna get for this, but to me, Ben Affleck was the best Batman.
I have heard that many times. That is not that controversial to me, at least. What I like about him is I think he's the only one that really portrayed the sadness that Batman needs. Michael Keaton was playing. He's great. I love them all. Except George Clooney, I gotta say.
Had a bad credit card.
Yeah. Oh God, terrible. But Michael Keaton was fun. Val Kilmer was actually fine. He just was in one of the worst Batman movies. Christian Bale was okay. Huh? What'd you?
That one, Batman Forever is my favorite one from the first four.
Oh, really? See, I like that one a lot too, but I know a lot of people don't like it.
Yes.
Because it is radically different from the '89 Batman and Batman Returns. But I mean, you're talking Batman came out, Joker, and whatever. That one came out when I was 13. So yeah, it was right at that time. It was the perfect time for me. Like, oh man, Michael Keaton, that's my guy. And then Val Kilmer came out, and I was like, I don't. He's okay. And then later on, it was like, yeah, he does a pretty good job. But yeah, Christian Bale's just not. He just plays. I don't know. There's something about the way he plays it where it's too. Or maybe this is a Nolan thing, Christopher Nolan thing. But there's not enough emotion there, to me. I don't know, but you're right. I think Ben Affleck nailed the sadness. I think you need that. I love. There are certain I know that people don't like Batman versus Superman, and they don't like Man of Steel, and they don't like, a lot of people don't, but a lot of people do. And I'm one of those that I appreciate a lot of things about it, even though I have problems with it too. The shot of him holding that girl as he's watching Superman, you know what I'm talking about? There's that one shot. It's so good. You can see everything you need to know in that single shot. So no, that is not a bad thing to me. Ben Affleck is awesome. I've always thought he was awesome though. Even when, Geely came out, I'm like, come on. Is it really that bad? Okay, it is bad, but he's not that bad. That was a pretty bad movie, but
Ben Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms.
right. You know what's funny is I've been a big Kevin Smith fan, since the beginning, right? I've seen in fact, I think there is a couple of movies I hadn't seen. Like I didn't see Tusk. And I think there's another one in there I hadn't seen. But anyway, been a big fan of Kevin Smith for a long time. And used to quote that all the time. I've never seen Phantoms. Is that weird?
Me neither.
You haven't either?
No.
I was actually wondering if he came up with that. He was just like, I'm going to just say this. He's I like Kevin Smith is one of those guys too that has gone through that weird those peaks and valleys, you know what I mean? Where there was a point where people were just like, who cares about Kevin Smith? Nobody cares about Kevin Smith. And then all of a sudden it was like, so what does Kevin Smith think about this Marvel trailer? And suddenly he was relevant again. It's weird. I don't know. I love Kevin Smith. Kevin, if you're watching, big fan. He's probably not watching. That's okay. Back to I guess Battinson. Is there a reason why you said no? I like it. Like, had you seen a lot of his stuff before? Or?
Yeah, I saw a couple of the Twilight movies. The first one in particular because the director's from my hometown. She's from here. That's the only reason why I saw it. And he himself is not a bad actor because I've seen other movies that he's done. It's just the material itself wasn't the best to draw from. That so yeah. I like the trailer of how he portrayed the Bruce Wayne, so I'm willing to give him the chance, especially where he grabs the guy and he's like,
yeah,
that's badass,
Yeah, and that's the weird thing too is that I've watched a lot of his little, his smaller roles and stuff because I do this. Because I guess just because I'm a movie dork, but like when I hear of somebody that's going to be in a movie and I'm like, I don't think I've seen anything with them, I'll just go through their whole filmography and see what's available for me to watch.
Yes.
And I'll just watch them. Like I got to tell you, watch The King on Netflix. It may not be on anybody's list of best movies of the year or anything, but it's got Timothée Chalamet, who's going to be in Dune, and Robert Pattinson, and it's almost a Braveheart kind of. It's worth watching, and you get to see both of them act, and it's the movie that made me go, okay, Timothée Chalamet, I'm excited for Dune now. I hadn't seen anything with him. Robert Pattinson plays an interesting role in there, like someone you wouldn't expect. It's kind of interesting, but. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm one of those that I'm willing to give anybody a shot when it comes to a role because you don't know what they're going to bring. I mean, look at Heath Ledger. That was a pretty I would say that was a pretty controversial casting. Do you remember that when he was cast? It was like everybody was like, "What is going on?" And then it was like he was awesome.
Yeah. I have him tattooed on my leg actually.
Oh, see,
Yeah,
yeah.
Heath Ledger's Joker I have tattooed on my leg right here.
I love that performance so much, and it was like I always use it. There's I'm just gonna say it. There are movies or there are moments in a movie. I call them pardon my French. I'm gonna use the language that I don't usually use on the show, but I'm gonna use it because I think it's important to make this point. It's called the fuck yeah moment. It's the moment where you're just like, yes, that was awesome. And there's certain movies where you get that moment, and I explain it where it's almost like when you're going over a hill and you don't expect it, and you almost get the little butterflies in your stomach, and you're like, oh, you know? But it's like extreme excitement. When he in Dark Knight, when the guy comes up to the truck, you know, they're moving Harvey Dent. The guy's coming up to the truck and he's like, "Hey, you can't park here," whatever. And he comes out of nowhere and shoots him with a shotgun, and then it immediately cuts. It made me go. It seriously almost made me come out of my seat. I was so excited because that's the Joker I've been waiting to see. I've been waiting to see a Joker that doesn't care and that just goes all the way. And then, of course, it was a weird. I know it's weird feeling because Joker's the bad guy, but man, when it shows the shot, it was almost a GoPro shot almost on the side of the car, and he gets out and he's shaking his head and all that. Oh, it was just like, where has this Joker been? This is the Joker, you know? He's chaos incarnate. He's always my favorite Batman villain. Always. I don't think that's a question though. That's not a controversial thing to say anymore, but I always loved him because even amongst other criminals, he's like, that guy's gonna screw us. Because he didn't care. He didn't care who he screws, he didn't care who he helps. He's got a plan and he's moving forward. But anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to go off on the Joker for 5 minutes there, but so I guess for me, the Batman with Robert Pattinson, the only thing I'm worried about is the way the movie looks. Because to me, it was like, I felt like I was just watching Seven. You know what I'm talking about?
Which isn't a bad thing, I think.
Right. But I also don't want I don't want it to lean so heavily on that it's like, hey, Seven's a movie that people like. Let's make a movie like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm reading too much into it, you know, and to whatever. But that's the only problem, is that even some of the shots where it's like slow dolly moves, just it's just like, did you call David Fincher and tell him that you were gonna steal a shot, or you just, you know, because it just felt, and it looked, even the color palette looked similar, and it was just like, I don't know. Okay, I'm just okay, because that's my thing, man. Expectations can ruin a movie. You know, you build them up too far, or you think, well, I guess it doesn't really work the other way, right? If you have no expectations and the movie's okay, you're still like, oh, well, that wasn't bad. That's a lot better than the piece of shit that I thought it was gonna be. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Anyway, so what about Wonder Woman and Black Widow? Are you excited about those, or are you kind of like, eh?
More so for Black Widow than Wonder Woman.
Is it just because it's Marvel, or?
Yes, because I'm a big like you. I'm a big lore guy, so I like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that they're all connected. So I like seeing a story continued and then referencing past movies because it takes place in the same timeline. I like that a lot.
Right.
So I'm more invested in the MCU than I am the DC movies. So I'm excited to see where they're gonna take the universe next, especially with the Disney Plus shows being connected. And on a slightly different topic, did you ever see the Marvel Netflix shows, the Daredevil, to Jessica Jones?
In fact, I don't think I ever finished Jessica Jones, and I don't think I watched there was some other ones, Luke Cage and Iron Fist, right? Yeah, I didn't watch them. Yes. I only saw Daredevil, and then Punisher, right? Wasn't there a Punisher season 1?
Mm-hmm.
Were there 2 seasons of that?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I saw the second season. I think it's because when they started canceling everything, I was like, okay, they're throwing it all out. You know what I mean? It's not going to be in canon, so I was like, I don't know if I want to watch these, and I just never went back.
Yeah, and that pisses me off that they're retconning those, because I'm obsessed with that with the Marvel Netflix show, so much so that I have all their statues behind me over here, and it pisses me off that they're retconning them. And I'm going to just go ahead and say this too. I thought Finn Jones was a great Iron Fist.
I don't see that's what I don't know anything about. And then wait a minute, didn't they? What am I thinking of? Is it the Protectors? Is that what they're called when they team up?
The Defenders.
The Defenders. Okay. What am I thinking of? I think there's actually something called the Protectors. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's not what we're talking about. So, did they ever do that? Did they ever come together?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was that its own season?
Yes. Defender season 1.
See, I don't know anything about it. Okay. Huh. So I'm sure if I go online, there's probably a watch order, right? Now, did they leave things kind of hanging?
Yes. Yes, and especially Daredevil, and it just pisses me off. That's all I'm saying. That they're not canon anymore. So I'm like,
so what? Do you know what the plan? What is the plan there? Is it are they going to try to bring him in at some point, or they're just kind of like, it's almost like we got the toys now, but I've really got these, and I really like these, so we're gonna do.
I think that's what.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like the X-Men and Fantastic Four, where everything's in limbo. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't know. I've liked Daredevil for a long time. In fact, before the Ben Affleck movie came out, I think I can't remember the timeline. I read the comics at some point. I don't own them, so I don't know if I can't remember if I borrowed them or if I watched them on, or not watched them, got them on, because I was a Marvel subscription comics guy for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was always a big fan of Daredevil. I never really cared for the Punisher until John Bernthal was the Punisher, and he was like, he's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Man, kind of makes you wonder what they're going to do now. Now, are they going to take those off of Netflix?
No, they're going to leave them on there. But as far as moving forward, I think Kevin Feige wants to recast them because he wasn't involved with those. So to him, they're not canon. They're not part of the MCU. But to me, if I ever met him, I would tell him, "Oh, you don't like those, but you like Thor: Dark World." Yeah, that's what you said. Yeah, that's what you're telling me. I thought that the worst episode of Daredevil is still better than the Dark World. I just hate that movie.
Well, yeah. It's not the best. By the way, Bucho's saying goodbye. He's got to roll out to Bro's house to watch some fisticuffs. Keep being awesome. I'll catch the rest on replay. Good day to you. Thank you, Bucho. As always, you bring some fun questions and some fun derailments, which is always good. So good day. Have a good one. So you're okay. So you're really more into. I guess it's always a surprise to me when somebody's really into the Marvel stuff. So how long were you into Marvel? Were you into it before the movies, or did the movies make you a fan?
No, I was into it before the movies because I saw Blade growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw all the one-offs, the Chris Evans Fantastic Four movies,
Yeah.
the Thomas Jane Punisher, Electra.
Right.
So no, I was always a Marvel fan, and of course when Iron Man came out, I was already a fan, so I was already invested.
See, I find that I didn't know any of those were Marvel or DC or whatever. I was really into comics for like 5 years and then got out of it. And it's like I forgot everything. Like I knew Batman was DC, I knew Spider-Man was Marvel, but I couldn't tell you who any of the X-Men were. Mm-hmm. I couldn't tell you who, the Avengers. I was like, Captain America, I've heard, yes, but I don't know. The movies changed things for me because when the first Captain America movie actually is what really started to make me go, okay, so this can be a little unreal, but it's really good. And it really kind of opened my eyes. And then when they brought in Thor, and I was like, okay, I wouldn't have said, yes, I want to watch that. But when I felt like I needed to watch the next ones. So I watched it and I'm like, I like it. So I started, that's when I joined up again to the Marvel, almost like their Netflix type thing where it's this monthly subscription and you whatever. I bought a year of it. I said, screw it. I'm just going to buy a year of it and I'm just going to read a bunch of comics. And they were awesome. So yeah. Because I feel like even what I like about the movies is that they kind of take from all these different, it's not like that's the 1960s Captain America or that's the 1980s Captain America. They kind of took a bunch from everywhere and they honor a lot of it, which is I think is really cool. And it's something that DC wasn't doing as much. I don't know. So you've always preferred Marvel to DC, or?
I go back and forth, honestly.
Right. So you're not one of those, oh no, I hate the blah blah blah. See, I've always been like, hey, there's good stuff everywhere. What's the problem?
Yeah.
Okay. I will tell you this. Wonder Woman 84 scares me because Cheetah looks bad. I
haven't seen her.
Have you seen the latest trailer? This was like a couple of months ago, but the latest trailer, I was like, oh, that looks bad. I don't know. I hope this works. Because I didn't think the first Wonder Woman was going to work. But it really works, So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I've always been more interested in Batman. Just because it's more realistic. I mean, yeah, it's still it's fiction. But at least he's just a dude. He's not like, oh, he was bitten by a radioactive spider. I was like, come on, that's so stupid. Then I love Spider-Man now. But anyway, I don't know. So what's your your favorite movie was Winter Soldier, right?
Yes.
And that is, I mean, I don't think anybody can argue with that. That is so good. What did you think of Into the Spiderverse?
I liked it.
Oh my God, man.
I liked it a lot.
That movie hit me it just hit weird to me because I'm like, this is so radically different than anything I'd ever known of Spider-Man, but it is so perfect and it's so great. And I loved how, I think, especially now the Miles Morales game, I love the family dynamic, It's so good. It's so good. But anyway. Well, gosh, we've covered, we've covered so much stuff. Is there anything that you'd like to say before we start wrapping things up here?
Just thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
man, I don't know what they're gonna do with Bond, but how cool would it be if we could go? Well, I don't know if I could make a trip down there, but you make a trip up here or whatever, dude. I want to go see I want to go see No Time to Die with you. That'd be so awesome to go with another super fan. Because
yeah,
dude. So if you happen to be up here when it comes out, hit me up. Because
you got it.
I would love it. And again, guys, thank you for watching, Albert. Of course, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure having you on. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out and participating in the chat. It was great. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
All right, thank you.